I completely expected the Yankees to at least lose one of those games in this series against the White Sox. I never could have imagined it would have been as bad as it was last night in what I think is the worst Yankees loss since 2021. One of the most pathetic performances in Yankees history. Losing to a team that just lost 21 straight games by double digits. Double digits. They're the first team, the Yankees are, since 2017 to be a minus 350 favorite or longer and lose by 10 or more runs. I'm Bryce Gelman, and today you can see I'm very angry and upset and clearly not happy over what I really think is the worst Yankees loss since Yankees Angels in 2021. I don't know if you all remember that. I was at the game. That's why I remember it. And it's the most demoralizing loss since that point. I'm going to talk about that. But I gotta get this off my chest because last night was just, how can you do that? Like there's like really not many words that I could use to explain why it happened. We know that it happened. We know that the Yankees, as much as people wanted to say after the Phillies series, after them trading for Jazz Chisholm, that they were absolutely back, they're not back. It's the same old Yankees. One day on top of the world, one day at rock bottom. And think about how many terrible losses they've had this season. You know, the two to the Red Sox, the one about a month ago where they lost 3-0, the one, of course, when the Red Sox stole like 30 bases. This is 10 times worse than that. Fine, you want to lose to your bitter rival, the Red Sox, who on paper aren't the best baseball team, but they're still over 500. They're still competing in the AL wild card. They have some young talent. They're pretty solid. This is different. And there could be no excuses from this Yankees team as to why they blew this game and why they blew it so terribly. The Yankees, okay, fine. They go up 1-0 in this game. Judge hits a double, 1 run. Okay, great, awesome. Then they have runners on second and third. 3 straight pop-ups that lead to outs. Okay, fine. 2 runners stranded. Okay, same old Yankees. They'll get them. It's the White Sox. They suck. It's fine. All right. Then the White Sox go up 2-1. Luis Gil, the command was not there. Benintendi got to him. His Yankees revenge game. Whatever. Okay. They're down 2-1. Not ideal. Okay, fine. Whatever. This game is far from over. The Yankees will inevitably get the run back, and then they'll win the game. Okay. Then the Yankees strand the bases loaded in the second inning, and then again in the fourth inning. Okay, fine. Even after that, it's like, okay, whatever. Yankees, okay, they're down 2-1. This is not ideal. Someone will get out. Someone will make a play. Someone will get a hit. Okay. And we all saw where the game went from there. All downhill from there. Luis Gil, it looked like he was dealing in the second and third inning. He looked like he found his command. His slider was there. His fastball had some oomph. And then the fourth inning gets rocked. And then the White Sox go up 4-1. And then, of course, the Yankees just imploded from there at that point. And listen. If they hadn't let up 12 runs, they lost the game by 1 or 2 runs, whatever. They put up a fight at the end of the game. Fine, so be it. It's still pathetic that you lost to a team that lost 21 straight games and will go down as one of the worst teams in baseball history. Fine, okay, that sucks. You need to take a hard look in the mirror. But to lose in the fashion that they lost in, I don't know how you go lower from there. I really don't. And hopefully this could be a major awakening to this baseball team. They're only a half game out of first place behind the Orioles. They still have a relatively easy schedule. They still have 2 more games against the White Sox, and then they play the Tigers in a 3-game series. They could turn this around. They can make the most of this. Can we really expect them to do that? I don't want to be the one to sit here and say the season's over. The Yankees aren't going to be able to rebound from this. They're screwed. because I'm not entirely set on that idea. I'm not going to sit here and spew that garbage. It's nonsense. It really is. The season's not over because of this loss. If anything, it just shows you who they are, what their DNA is made of. This should never have happened. It's unacceptable. It's inexcusable. And it is the same old Yankees losing disgusting games like this to terrible teams. The Yankees are not back. They still have a long way to go. Their pitching needs to figure it the F out if the Yankees want any chance to be competitive in the postseason. They've got a month and a half to figure it out until the postseason. But last night was just a terrible sign going forward. It really was. And again, I don't want to be the one to sit here and tell you the sky is falling. The Yankee season's over, because it's not. But what I do want to say is that the Yankees just are so bad, and they've been so bad over the last 4 or 5 years, going back to 2017, at hitting with runners in scoring position. Last night, they stranded 16 runners. No one's saying they could have won the game. They lost 12-2. But they could have made it at least slightly competitive. If like 2 or 3 of those at-bats with runners in scoring position end up in hits, the Yankees have, 6, 7 runs? And maybe they put up a fight later on in the game. And Yell doesn't get absolutely rocked because there's something to play for? I don't know. I really don't know. Luis Gil, I mean, listen, he allowed 4 runs in 4 innings. He only had 3 strikeouts. Strikeout stuff clearly wasn't there. His fastball, I mean, besides the second and third innings, and in the first and fourth, it didn't have that regular energy that we see it have. You should be able to make up for a 4-run deficit when your starting pitcher goes out there and lays an egg. You should be able to against the worst team in baseball. This is going to go down as one of the worst, bottom 10 teams in Major League Baseball history. This team might not even get to 40 wins in an 162-game season. And that's the team you lose to last night. This is the worst Yankees loss since June 30th, 2021. And you may be like, Bryce, what happened June 30th, 2021? Well, if you remember, the Yankees go out. Shohei Ohtani's on the mound at Yankee Stadium. He goes out there, gives up 7 runs in the first inning. Then there's a big rain delay, 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever. I was at the game. Very fun game up until that point. The rain delay, my friends want to stay. Okay, fine. The Yankees give up a 7 spot in the 9th inning, lose the game off a grand slam to Jared Walsh. You still remember that name? I don't. I have to look it up again. I needed to remind myself, and of course I won't remember ever in the history of my fandom of all my sports teams, the feeling of that loss. The fact that it will go down as the worst loss that I've ever witnessed. And I used to be a Nets fan growing up when they sucked, when they had the worst winning percentage in NBA history. And I was a Knicks fan. I still am a Knicks fan. And I've been to plenty of Knicks games. That's saying something, that I was at that game and that was the worst loss. This might be worse. It might be worse. I think it's more demoralizing, considering the fact that the Yankees have actually been playing some pretty solid baseball ever since they traded for Jazz Chisholm. And speaking of Jazz Chisholm, he now apparently has a left elbow injury. So more of the same with the Yankees, where they give you the slightest bit of hope. You think they're back. And then guess what? They go out there and they give us all another reason to be extremely, extremely angry at management. When is it going to stop? Like, when is this going to be like past the point of like we can stick with this? Like, when is this going to change how Steinbrenner looks at the construction of this roster, looks at the job that Aaron Boone has done, specifically managing the bullpen, and just be like, you know what, screw it, we're done with this. We're done. a game in mid-August, no matter who you lose to, it's not going to change that. I understand that. And I'm not calling for changes specifically after this game. What I am calling for is some accountability with this organization to the point where this is completely unacceptable, not just to the fans, but to everyone in that locker room and the clubhouse. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that they weren't baffled. They weren't completely beside themselves that they lost that baseball game last night. I'm sure they were. How are they going to respond? Are they finally going to hit with runners in scoring position? Are they going to turn it around? Will this be the game that changes the mindset of the New York Yankees? Will this be the game that finally gets all of the Yankees hitters to start hitting with runners in scoring position? Will this be the game where the Yankees finally deviate from the last 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 years where they have just had a complete inability to hit with runners on? I mean, how many times have we looked at terrible Yankees losses and had it right in front of our faces? No pun intended, have it be right in front of us to see exactly why the Yankees lost that game. And you could look exactly in the middle of the box score. Oh, the Yankees stranded 10 runners. They stranded 15 runners. They stranded 20 runners. How many times that happened? It's like deja vu all over again. It's the same old shit. And when is it going to change? When is there going to be some clutch nature to this Yankees team? I always compare it back to the 90s. Why did they win so many championships? Why did they win in 96? Why did they win in 98? Why did they win in 99? Why did they win in 2000? The guys at the bottom of the lineup hit with runners in scoring position. Brocious, Knobloch. I can go on and on. Soriano. They came up clutch. They hit when it mattered the most. Look at this Yankees roster from top to bottom and throw out the top two. You know what we're talking. Judge and Soto. Who at the bottom of the order do you trust to hit in a big spot? Who do you trust? I don't trust anyone. Maybe Stan, if he could continue to be at least serviceable for the next month and then find his stride. Because this has been the best that Giancarlo Stanton has looked following an IL stint in a very, very long time. But it's still not good enough. It's still resulting in pop-ups with runners in scoring position. At least hit the ball into the outfield. Let's score on a sac fly. Oh no, I've got to hit it 90 feet in the air for the ball to go 15 feet to the pitcher, to the first baseman. It's simply not good enough. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people who talk Yankees, a lot of talking heads out there who are just as upset and annoyed as me. Wouldn't you like to see the same fire from the players? Wouldn't you like to see Alex Verdugo not bunt when he's not told to bunt? Oh, another pop-up. Another pop-out. I mean, how pathetic was that? How pathetic was that bunt attempt? That led to another inning with the stranded bases loaded. How awesome. Man, I can't do this. I can't do this over and over again. If you know baseball, you know this Yankees team. Unless we see differently, we know how this season will end. We know how this story will go down. The Yankees will get into the postseason, and they will fall flat on their faces to whomever it may be. This year, the Astros aren't as good as they have been. Juan Soto is kind of an Astros killer. He might be able to lift the Yankees past the Astros. Again, don't look great this year. They're not some juggernaut like they have in the past 4 to 5, 6 years. The Yankees will lose in demoralizing fashion. in pathetic fashion. This loss last night just confirms what we all just don't want to be true. That this Yankees team has changed. They haven't. They haven't whatsoever. It's the same old you know what. And now as I sit here, Tuesday, August 13th, speaking to all of my lovely viewers here on X, Twitter, and YouTube, I can't do it. I can't do this any longer. I can't deal with the incomprehensible losses like the one that we saw last night. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb as the runs just kept pouring in. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to believe that to be true, that the Yankees would go down in flames like they did eventually last night. If you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman talking about the Yankees' just disgusting loss to the White Sox last night. A loss which I think is the worst loss in recent Yankees history, specifically going back to the game against the Angels in 2021, where Jared Walsh hit a grand slam and they put up a 7 spot after the Yankees scored 7 runs in the first inning against Shohei Ohtani. It's the worst game that I've ever been to. And thankfully, I wasn't at this game last night. I've never been to Chicago, and I feel bad for all the Yankees. I guarantee it was like half and half, if not like 60-40, if not 70-30, if not 75-25. Yankees fans to White Sox fans. The White Sox are the most incompetent organization, maybe in all of sports. The Athletics want to be as bad, but they actually aren't that bad. They're not terrible this year. Yeah, they're awful. They don't try. They have, a payroll which is less than the salary of some CEOs out there. The White Sox Reinsdorf does not give a you-know-what, a flying you-know-what about his baseball team. There's no payroll. They don't care. And the Yankees just lost to that team last night. A team that has only scored double-digit runs one other time this year. One other time. The Yankees the only team this year to lose to the White Sox by double-digit runs. You can't get any worse than that. You can't go any lower than that. So we'll see. But I think that this confirms to any Yankees fan out there who really thought this team was back that they're not. They're nowhere close to it. And major things need to change for this organization and for the fans to be able to collectively say that they know what they're doing. They've got guys at the bottom of the order who can hit with runners in scoring position in big moments, who are clutch, and who are winning baseball players. Until that happens, until we see otherwise, it's more of the same. Enough of the Yankees. I don't want to do it. I'm done. But I want to talk about an unfortunate injury that happened with the Giants earlier today in training camp with Tyrone Tracy from Purdue, the 6th-round draft pick. Went down with a major non-contact injury. The Giants are saying that it is an ankle injury. Considering they put an air cast on him and they carted him off the field, this looks to be a broken ankle. This looks to be, hopefully it's nowhere near like the Gordon Hayward injury, the Dak Prescott injury. Those are like 2 really bad ankle injuries that come to mind where, the foot, whatever, you get the point. Very, very terrible news, though, after Tracy was running the ball pretty well against the Lions in the preseason. I understand the Lions didn't play one starter. But Tracy averaged over 5 runs a carry. They get 5 carries for like 32, 33 yards. And he was looking to be the running back too. And he was going to get a lot of touches because as solid as Devin Singletary is, he's not a lead back that thrives in any situation other than a committee. And yes, he would have ended up getting most of the carries, but there would be a lot of opportunity for Tyrone Tracy, and this unfortunately all goes out the window, and prayers to him, and we'll eventually see what the result is of his injury after he was I don't know, he was the hospital for special surgery. So we'll see with the x-ray. The x-ray will definitely tell the tale here if this is an ankle injury, because it's not going to be hopefully it's no it's no tendon injury. But yeah, I mean, prayers up for him. There have been a lot of really bad injuries in training camp and preseason. JJ McCarthy has a torn meniscus. Who knows how long he'll be out? It's fortunate that he suffered it now, so he'll have the next 3.5, 4 weeks to recover, and maybe he'll be back by. I mean, it's not like he'd start anyway at the start of the season. Sam Darnold would look to be penciled in as the starting quarterback there, but that's big for the Giants. Implications. I mean, either way, again, like I said, Sam Darnold is probably starting week 1 against the Giants, but something to watch out for. And very unfortunate to see my guy Jahmyr Gibbs, who I've got on my dynasty team, goes down with a hamstring injury. I'm in shambles. We'll see how severe that is. Hopefully it's no tear, and hopefully he'll be back by the start of the season. But yeah, there's been a lot of injuries, and it's not a good sign. And it's like it's something you got to expect with the NFL. There's just injuries all over the place. Any one of your top players can go down at any point, and your season could be changed forever. Look at the Bengals last year, Super Bowl aspirations. Joe Burrow goes down with an injury, and that's it. It's the same in every sport. Happened to the Knicks last year. A couple of freak injuries. They happen, and you're screwed. That's just how sports works, and it sucks, and something you wish you could just turn off the injuries like you're playing a video game, but that's just not the case. So we'll see what happens with Tyrone Tracy. Not a good sign. Prayers up for him. Prayers up, for the Giants organization that they could get, their young, I could say stud. I really think he could be a really solid running back in the league, primarily as a backup. But if there's ever an injury, he'd be a pretty serviceable option in the backfield. So that'll do it for today. Bryce Gelman here, and thank you all for tuning in. Yankees, man. I mean, how pathetic. How pathetic. It just, I can't do it. I got to end it. I got to end this. I'm not. I digress. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back here streaming or video, whatever, later on this week. I post clips now after every one of these live streams about like the best 30, 40 seconds. So I'll get something out. And then of course, One Giant Step with Sean Morash and myself. We'll be returning tomorrow, or actually Thursday morning. Then we're going to be doing a reaction pod Sunday. So stay tuned for all of that. Some good stuff coming your way. But thank you all for tuning in today, and we'll speak to you all later this week.